According to Albert Einstein, the measure of intelligence is the ability to change. When we think about how much the world has changed around us due to digitalization, it isn't how much technology we use, but more importantly, it's how we adapt and leverage it to create a better world. Hi, I'm Keith Connell, and welcome to the Digital Revolution podcast. Not to sound like your grandparents talking about a foreign world so far in the past that you couldn't possibly fathom, but 10 years ago, the world was a different place. I know what you're thinking. Heck, 1 year ago, the world was a different place. But what I'm talking about is commerce and how we advertised. You see, companies used to rely heavily on advertising in newspapers, magazines, and above-the-line advertising to help with sales and brand awareness, and the publishers, well, they relied on companies to buy the advertising. With the influx of technology today, businesses had to rethink how it advertises, and the publishers, those who are still around, have had to develop a new model for advertising sales. In essence, the internet grew up following models of print very closely, so naturally, the immediate attention went to display advertising, as it not only was what the business world already knew, but more that consumers were more comfortable with the model. There were several models to choose from back then. Companies could advertise on news services, directorials, and websites. The problem with relying on the way business used to operate was that these companies would sell their ad space with sales reps, and depending on how well the rep did, many spaces ran the risk of not selling out their inventory of ad spots. In short, the model was really inefficient. Because of this need, there was an opportunity identified for services to sell the leftover advertising spaces, much like the travel model of selloffvacations.com, and ad networks were born. To be truly successful, the ad networks needed a great deal of sophistication, so they invested heavily into their infrastructure to build the platforms that would connect the buyers and sellers of advertising space. While logically, you would expect that these services would include the traditional media outlets like TV, radio, and print, but the market was so hot and the practice at that time was so niche, they focused solely on online sales. It was a huge gamble, but one that really paid off. As mentioned, the model basically bought the remnant or non-premium advertising space off of the online publishers for pennies on the dollar and sold the spots off for a fraction of the original price. Everyone won, but as with everything, the model grew up and the services are thinking more strategically by buying blocks of premium advertising space now and in turn selling the premium impressions to advertisers. It means that the advertisers are assured that they're securing premium advertising spots, and though there's little savings, these spots mean greater exposure through frequency or the location of the advertisements. The ad networks shouldn't be confused with ad servers, however, which are servers used by advertising networks to manage their day-to-day operations. There are two different types of advertising services out there: first-party servers, which are owned and operated by the publishers, and third-party, which are owned by the advertisers. Both types of servers have their pros and cons. For example, the first-party servers can be extremely expensive to maintain versus the third-party counterparts, though the third-party servers present greater risk due to connectivity issues, security concerns, and the like. The first-party servers allow the networks to manage their inventory cleanly. The first-party servers allow the networks to manage their inventory cleanly by offering a conduit of selling off remnant or non-premium spots to the ad networks and the supply-side platforms, otherwise known as SSPs, and the third-party servers are built for storage of the advertisements and provide essential data such as impressions and clicks on the ads. So to recap a little, an ad network is an aggregator of supply of advertisements sold off by the publishers at reduced pricing. The advertiser then sets up their campaigns through the network and servers through their management tools or using special technology to verify the data of impressions and clicks. It would be the responsibility of the advertisers to establish the parameters of their campaigns, such as demographics, psychographics, geography, and the target market in general. It's the network's responsibility to ensure these ads are inserted appropriately. The nice thing for the ad networks is that they can sell the same spot over and over, totally unlike print media, by rotating the ads and managing the impressions based on budget, bidding, and other factors like day-parting parameters. So as you can see, there's a lot to consider when you're talking about ad servers and ad networks. There's so much more that we need to go into, but that's a conversation for another day. That'll wrap up this episode. Thanks for listening in. To paraphrase Darwin, it's not the smartest or strongest of a species that will survive, but rather one that adapts and changes with the environment around it. I'm Keith Connell, the host of The Digital Revolution. Thanks for listening.